Hello subscribers, here is another review, and this time it's the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Dual Attack Allosaurus. Now of course, someone on Instagram unexpectedly found this and the Nasutoceratops at a Walmart, which is strange because Mattel didn't release any stock images first. So, by looking at this figure, it seems to be a slight improvement over the Roarvor's Allosaurus, which I really don't like. To see the packaging, it is quite different. It's got some purple on it, in the back as well, and it says, as seen in Battle at Big Rock. So no one knows what Battle at Big Rock is, but most people are speculating that it might be some sort of short film, whether it's animated or CGI. But other than the purple stuff and the sign right there, there's really nothing new about the packaging. See, on the back, you just got the artwork right there, and got the Allosaurus attacking the Coelurus, which makes sense because Allosaurus and Coelurus did live at the same time, I believe. And see, and the other two figures in the assortment. So yeah, let's waste no time and get this guy out of his packaging. Here is the collector's card, and as you can see, the artwork of the Allosaurus is basically a copy of the Mojo Allosaurus stock image. As you can see, these stats are pretty good, but I probably increased the intelligence to a 5 out of 10. Here is the Allosaurus out of the packaging, and I have to say, this actually looks like a pretty nice figure. Looks better than the Roarvor's Allosaurus. So as for detailing, there isn't much to talk about here, because this is just a retool, and of course the arms, the torso, the legs, and tail are going to be the same. Let's take a look at the only real difference here, which is the head sculpt. And it actually looks like an Allosaurus, as opposed to the Roarvor's figure. See, it's long, narrow, with smaller teeth, and larger crests. Like a real Allosaurus. And as you can see, there's also spikes going down the back, which is very reminiscent of the Papo Allosaurus. So yeah, that's about it for detailing. Not much to say about it. So let's check out the articulation now. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points of articulation. Now let's talk about the paint job. Now, the color schemes on both Mattel Allosaurus were very cool, but I like this one a little more, mostly because I think it looks more unique. And I also love the different shades of blue they use for it. And if they were to make this beige color like a little darker, it probably would have looked better. But other than that, this is an awesome paint job. Now let's look at the articulation. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, the spring-loaded jaw is connected to the dual attack action feature. Now onto the aesthetics of the toy, and I have to say, it looks fairly good. What could have made this figure better if Mattel resculpted the feet into more realistic looking feet, because these feet do look quite funky. And also, I wish they were to put the legs in a more neutral position, because I'm pretty sure Mattel has enough money for that. And also, the tail. This figure, of course, this figure would have looked a lot better if it had a longer, thicker tail. I know it's to fit in the packaging, but maybe if Mattel made the tail a tad bit, maybe a bit longer, maybe make the tail curling up and add more girthiness to the tail, this figure probably would have looked a lot better. But overall, the aesthetics are pretty good. Here is the action feature. You've got 2 buttons. The first one is your typical jaw chomping action, and it's a pretty strong spring inside. It works really well. And the second one, instead of a tail whacking feature, you got a claw slashing feature, similar to the new Savage Strike Blue. And it works pretty well. The spring is strong. Starting with the comparisons, as you can see, we have the dual attack Allosaurus next to the 2018 Roarvor's Allosaurus. As you can see, everything's basically the same thing with the exception of the head sculpts, the backs, and the tails. Of course, the Roarvor's one having a more straight tail, and this one, the dual attack one, having the spikes going down its back. Of course, the head sculpt on the Roarvor's Allosaurus, in my opinion, is very cartoonish and ugly. This one actually looks like an Allosaurus. So you see, both have cool paint jobs, but I like the paint job in here a little more. In the Roarvor's Allosaurus, the proportions are a little bit better than the newer one. See, the head is not as big as this one, and the tail seems to be a bit longer. So, but maybe this Allosaurus wouldn't look so bad, like I said, if the tail was a bit longer and girthier. Overall, I think this figure is pretty overrated. It's not horrible, but I'm just not a fan of it. This one, I think, is the better Mattel Allosaurus. Here is the dual attack Allosaurus next to some other Dino Rivals figures from the various assortments, which also includes its contemporaries, Ceratosaurus and Coelurus. Here is the dual attack Allosaurus next to the Collecte Mini Zafactinus. Well, there you have it, guys. This is my review on the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Dual Attack Allosaurus. And yes, I do recommend you guys picking up this figure. It's a fairly cool figure. In my opinion, it's sort of an improvement over the Roarverse Allosaurus. Of course, this one has the same flaws, has some flaws that the original Allosaurus had, such as the small tail, balancing issues, and the weirdly sculpted feet. But of course, the improvements on this one is the spikes, the head sculpt, and in my opinion, the paint job. So, if you guys want this figure, of course, you can find it at Walmart. I don't think Target's carrying them yet. So if I had to give this figure a rating, probably give it a 7 out of 10. And I think I gave the original Roarverse Allosaurus a 6 out of 10. So if you guys like this review, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.